At first, nothing seemed wrong. The Titanic was calm, steady, and filled with quiet confidence. Passengers believed they were traveling on the safest ship ever built. But deep below the decks, events were already unfolding that would seal the ship's fate. In April 1912, the Titanic represented the peak of human engineering. Newspapers called it unsinkable. Passengers dined, danced, and strolled along the decks, unaware that the night ahead would become one of history's most infamous tragedies. Inside, music filled the grand halls. Outside, the Atlantic remained silent. Then came the first small signs that something wasn't quite right. Crew members began moving with unusual urgency. Messages were exchanged quietly. Certain areas of the ship were suddenly restricted. Most passengers noticed nothing. Those who did dismissed it as routine. Shortly before midnight, the Titanic struck an iceberg. The impact was subtle, more like a long shudder than a violent crash. Some passengers felt only a slight vibration beneath their feet. But below the surface, steel plates had been torn open. The ocean was already entering the ship. Engineers and officers quickly understood the seriousness of the damage. Compartments designed to keep the ship afloat were filling faster than expected. Calculations were made. Time was running out. Still, panic had not yet reached the passengers above. As the night continued, lifeboats were quietly prepared. Passengers were reassured. Many believed the situation was temporary. Stars remained bright overhead, yet the tilt of the ship grew almost imperceptibly. Gradually, whispers turned into questions. Questions turned into fear. The ship's decline could no longer be hidden. Cold air rushed across the decks. Lifeboats began lowering into the dark ocean below. Some realized this would not end safely. By the time the full reality became clear, escape routes were already limited. What had begun as a confident voyage had become a desperate struggle for survival. The Titanic's fate had been sealed long before most understood what was happening. History would remember this night not just for its tragedy, but for the quiet moments when the first signs appeared. Because history doesn't change in an instant. It changes in the moments just before. The Titanic had been designed to survive almost any accident. Its watertight compartments were considered revolutionary. But the iceberg had opened the ship along too many sections at once. Water moved from one compartment to the next. A slow, unstoppable chain reaction had begun. What had been engineered as a symbol of human control was now revealing the limits of that confidence. As lifeboats were lowered, the reality of class divisions became clear. Passengers from the upper decks were guided first. Many below struggled to even reach the open air. Locked gates, confusing corridors, and language barriers turned minutes into life-or-death obstacles. For some, the disaster had begun long before the ship sank. Out on the Atlantic, the night remained eerily still. Other ships were too far away to see the unfolding catastrophe. Distress signals were sent, but responses came slowly. For those watching from lifeboats, the scale of the tragedy was almost impossible to comprehend. A city of light was fading into darkness. The sinking of the Titanic would change maritime safety forever. New laws, new technologies, and new protocols would emerge from the loss. But in the end, what history remembers most are the human stories, the final decisions, the quiet warnings, the moments when everything could no longer be stopped. Because long before the ship disappeared beneath the waves, the first signs had already appeared.